What do you think about the New England Revolution in Toronto game?
Um, some of the things that I took away from that game. Ultimately, New England had the advantage dramatically with all stats. If you look at the stats, they had 23 goals or 23 shots and only 6 shots on goal. Having only 6 shots actually on net is probably one of the worst stats that you could see, especially with having 23 shots in total. And with their possession, having 64% possession, having better passing, better accuracy, less fouls, list goes on. But yet they lost 1-0. And the main reason for that ultimately is, the offense just couldn't get anything together. They would constantly just make bad runs, bad passes. The list goes on. You can't do anything about that. It is what it is, and we have to get something sorted out.
Why do you think New England can't score?
So the reason, I kind of touched on it earlier. The reason why they couldn't really score, it was just there was too many bad passes, too many bad moments. They were rushing too much. Especially one player, Chunkalai. He's a great player and all, but he needs to slow down his shots and he needs to play with his team. He did not do that this game. There was a couple of moments where he made dumb passes and dumb shots that just didn't make any sense. There was one or two different occasions where he had a wide open teammate for a better shot, and he instead just bicycle kicked it on the side of the goal. Like that's what happened, and it almost seemed like they were just all switched off on offense. Defense, I hands off to the defense for only letting in one goal. We should have lost by more than that. But our offense needs to do something about this number 9, this striker position. Thomas Chonklai he's not it there. And ultimately, we need to find a new striker because Thomas Chonklai is better off on the outside where he can service in the ball. He's way better in that position personally. I'm sure, not being able to adapt to that environment, to that position, he can do it, but you can't really do anything about it. If he hasn't really played that position for very long and he's been mainly a winger, that's where he needs to be. We just need to find that striker who's going to actually be able to produce goals for us.
Let's talk about how Chocolate did.
Yeah, so ultimately, again, I kind of touched up on it earlier. Chonkalai just rushed everything too much. He didn't use his teammates enough, and he's not really a striker. He's better off on the outside as a winger player, and he just, I don't know, he didn't utilize Carlos Heel enough, and we also just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. Sean, the Toronto keeper, he's fantastic. He did everything right that game. And the reason why we had so many problems that game was because of Sean Johnson. We just couldn't get anything past him. He was just playing lights out. He was a lights out. He clean sheet, and he's a very good goalkeeper. He played probably one of the best games of his career, in my opinion. He had fantastic saves, and I think that was a lot of the reason why we couldn't put it in the back of the net. We had chances to score. We just couldn't finish, and we just couldn't get in the back of the net ultimately. And that'll all start if we can find that striker that we need.
How was the New England defense overall?
So the New England defense, like I said earlier, played fantastic. Despite letting in a goal, nothing you can do. Insigne is a very good player. He's a very good finisher. And you could clearly see it in that game if you watched it. He basically had 5 to 10 seconds of time to bring the ball down with his chest, down to his feet, and then he just chipped it over the goalkeeper. Ravez, whatever the heck his name is, our goalie. He just was caught off his line, and you can't really save anything that's going right over your head and onto the side of the netting on the other side of the goal. You can't really do anything about that. It's just unlucky goal. Not much you can do, but you also cannot let Insigne have that much time to have the ball brought down and to his feet and then take a shot. There was 3 defenders on him, and there should have been no reason why he was able to have that amount of time to be able to get that shot off and score that goal. If we had pressure on him, the game could have been a hell of a lot different. But you can't do anything about it. Hats off to the defense. We should have lost by a hell of a lot more, and we should have to look forward to the next game. I know recently we beat I forgot what the team name is, but we beat somebody in the CONCACAF 4-0, and Chancalay scored 2 goals, surprisingly. But, we're not talking about that game. We're talking about the Toronto game. We need to figure out our situation in our regular season. We can't be putting our minds to these out-of-season tournaments. Like, if we're going to play good in these out-of-season tournaments, we need to be bringing that to our actual regular season, because we shouldn't be starting off 0-2 with a team with a solid team that we have, especially with having probably one of the best defenses in the league. Because that's exactly what it looks like. It looks like we might have a top 10 defense in the league, with having Dave Romney, Andrew Farrell, DeJuan Jones, Henrik Kessler. Like, we have strong defenders. We have Lima, who comes in here and there. We have a strong defensive core, but we just need to find that striker who can get us in that final end of the field to score those goals. Because we're not going to be able, if we don't score goals, we can't win games. Defense can only do so much. If we're going to have a good defense, we also need to have a semi-good offense who can score goals. Because if our defense is going to be there to stop goals from happening, we need to have that striker who can do anything to be able to get us the ball into the back of the net. So let's just go into now the biggest team name in the MLS right now, which is Inter Miami. So Aidan, what are your thoughts and how do you as to how Inter Miami's been doing so far this season? Especially when you compare them to last season, weren't really good. They were probably one of the worst teams in the league, but now they're one of the best teams in the league. What are your thoughts?
You have Messi, Jordan Alba.
You're also talking about Busquets and Suarez. You got Robert Taylor, who's just been a dark horse that came out of nowhere, right? So yeah, what are your thoughts? Like, what do you think they're doing better in now? Like, what do you think has changed now that we have new players like Suarez coming in and just playing amazingly with a former teammate of Lionel Messi, Jordi Alba, and Busquets? Why do you think everything's working for them right now?
They're awesome offense. They're quick off the ball. They got good talent.
They got good talent. Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with having Suarez, Messi, Busquets, and Alaba on your team. I mean, if I had those 4 players alone on my team, we better be winning. I mean, that's just how it is. I think having Suarez added to the equation definitely helped the team improve more. And then Robert Taylor is just a dark horse player who just came out of nowhere. I mean, obviously, we know that he was thinking about retiring because he didn't think he was going to be that good and he wasn't going to be good enough. And now look where he's at, right?
Yeah.
Let's just get into how good Inter Miami did against Orlando, right? Because I'm sure you know a lot. You watched that game like you had your eyes glued on the screen. I literally watched you. And even though you say you're a New England Revolution fan, I think you're an Inter Miami fan, to be honest with you. You sure?
No.
Positive?
No.
All right, fine. Why do you think Inter Miami was just so dominant despite having basically all the other stat lines against them? Why do you think they were scoring so much against Orlando?
Orlando defense was messy. Wide. Let the players go forward. That's how they score goals. Easy.
So would you say that the Orlando defense was just very sporadic? They were just always wide open. Um, so would you say what are some of the key takeaways from that game for Inter Miami? Do you think that they should have been, uh, you know, do you think there was any negatives to that game? Do you think there maybe Orlando just played really bad defense? What are your thoughts?
Yeah. That game was.
Something else?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw it, I mean, hey, hats off to Inter Miami, man. You know, you despite having the only stat going your way is shots on goal and just shots overall, and all the other ones, you know, possession they didn't have towards them. Passing was Orlando. He had more passes, better passing accuracy. The list goes on. Like there was just so much that was going Inter Miami's way when it comes to shooting. I mean, you can't really. Having players like Busquets, Messi, Jordi Alba, Suarez, Robert Taylor too. You have to be on those players, especially Messi and Suarez, because you know those guys are going to make those runs to get that ball into the back of the net. And from what I saw, that defense, man, I mean, they were wide open a lot of the time. There was even one time where they just let Suarez come running in, or Robert Taylor rather. Suarez came right in. Suarez gave it off to Robert Taylor, who's wide open for a free goal, right? Mm-hmm. And it almost looked like the goalie for Orlando was just off his line a lot of the time. What are your thoughts? Do you think Orlando just really played bad defense? Do you think so?
Yeah.
Like why? It was because of the fact that they were just always wide open. Ultimately, I think that's what it was. Their defense was just too spread out. They were letting up too much time for Messi, Suarez, Robert Taylor to make these runs to be able to get that ball in the back of the net. And I'm not an Inter Miami fan, but I do see how good they're playing right now. They're playing lights out, and it shows. They're 2-1-0. The best team in the East, basically the best team in the league in general. So yeah, there's a lot of teams that could probably go up against Inter Miami. Definitely not New England. New England right now is not a good soccer team. They definitely need to get their stuff going. They need to figure stuff out because they still got a long season ahead of them. And if we can't figure it out now, it's going to be a hard time for New England fans. And then for Inter Miami fans, they're going to have a fun time having Messi, Suarez, Busquets, and Alba on their team. Because those players are very good players. You can't go wrong with having, like I said, you can't go wrong with having Suarez and Messi on the same team. They're going to pair up a lot of the time. They're going to play good. Because they played with each other for many years at Barcelona. So they know how each other play. They know what each other are going to do with runs. And you can't stop that. You can't stop an offense that's that good. Especially if they're making your defense just look like they're not even there anymore. So, yeah. Ultimately, Inter Miami right now is probably the best team in the MLS. And I don't see anybody going up against them that's going to be making them have a close game. We have to wait and see. Hopefully, New England get their stuff together, right?
Yeah.
Because we don't want to see our team suck, right? We don't want that.
No.
Yeah. What do you think they need to do? Do you think they need to formation change? Do you think maybe we need to just find that striker who can get us through that final hump?
Yeah. If they find a striker, they could fix their defense.
Yeah, we don't really need to fix our defense. The defense is fine.
Yeah.
But go ahead. Yeah, you can talk.
They need to fix the offense.
Yep.
Then get a new striker.
Yep. Yeah, because ultimately it's the fact that we just don't have that striker right now is definitely putting a blow to the team, and you can't, we either need to find somebody who's going to fill that spot and actually do a good job and get us goals, or we're going to have to figure something out on the team. I mean, you can't just let this go. And like I said earlier, if you can't score goals and your defense is keeping you in games, you're not going to be able to win games. And ultimately, it's going to be a long season for you if you're not going to be able to score goals. Got anything else to add, Aidan?
New England Revolution, let's ride.
You hear it from him, folks. You hear it right from the source, Aidan Raftery. Yep, he said it here. New England Revolution, let's ride, right?
Yeah.
That's right. Well, I'm your host, Corey.
Aidan host, Aidan Raftery.
No, not Aidan host, Aidan Raftery. What? Hold on now, wait a minute. All right, say it again. I'm your host, Aidan Raftery.
I'm your host, Aidan Raftery. New England Revolution, let's ride.
That's right. Have a good one, guys.